Morning,
Hello.
Jesse.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? You're in a
Good.
different room today.
Sorry?
You're in a different room today.
I decided not to sit in her playpen area anymore.
Okay.
And yeah, so yeah, no, all's good. Do you even take a break? Like today is Sunday. You work 7 days a week?
Kind of. I start at 7, I end at midnight.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you
Because I
have
pick,
other trainers too on your
excuse
team?
me?
Do you have other trainers on your team or is it just you?
No, I have about three other, technically four, but like three people who, two train the dogs here at the facility,
Okay.
like the puppies and the daycare and train and the board and train. So like right now we have a board and train. And then I have my puppy. She was training puppies in person before COVID.
Yeah.
But so now that COVID's here, I've been doing all the puppies. But typically it would be her. Her
Okay.
name's Maddie. She's my puppy expert. Um, but because of COVID, I just started doing them over Zoom.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but we're starting to like figure out how we're gonna, because once fall and winter hits, it's gonna change things again for us. So I got to figure that out too. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, typically in the mornings I'll pick up the daycare dogs. So I'm up at like 6:30, pick up the dogs for daycare. Then I come and I do Zooms. Then I'll have, training at the park at Oz Park or training at the facility, and I record everything. So then after I'm done training, I'm putting all the videos together, and
Right.
then usually about 11 or midnight is when I start. Uh, I go to sleep. So.
Okay. Long days.
Yeah, Wednesday is my day off for the most part. I usually have to work a little bit, but
Okay.
that's my day off. Yeah.
And Jesse, do you guys have puppy socials or like puppy daycares?
So
Um,
we have uh how do you say? So we have a program called Puppy Head Start.
okay.
Okay. And Puppy Head Start is meant for, like, we had a couple that they got a pug and a Cotton Tulier. They got two puppies at 2 months. Okay. And they worked a lot.
Okay.
So, and this was before COVID. So she called me like right after she got her puppies and says, and she was like, she's like, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but I got two puppies and my husband and work. Yeah, my husband and I work like, early in the morning to late in the evening.
Right.
So she's like, where can we take our puppies? Because most daycares won't take puppies that young.
Right.
And I was like, well, obviously you need someone to take your puppies. Otherwise, you're going to come home to a lot of pee and poop and barking and stuff.
Yeah.
So we started the Head Start program. And what we do is we socialize puppies with other puppies.
Yeah.
Now, the dogs here are vaccinated. The concern is when you're exposing your puppy to an unvaccinated dog, or like I wouldn't take a puppy to a dog park
Right.
because you don't know those dogs, and anybody can bring a dog in, and then diseases can be transmitted through feces and stuff like that. So that's where like the greater risk lies.
Right.
So what we do is we keep the puppies separate from the other dogs, but like our younger puppies, like we have currently a German Shepherd who's in our puppy Head Start, and he plays with our other puppies, so they still get socialization. We just keep them away from the adult dogs, but technically they're fine because they're vaccinated.
Right.
And when we take them to go potty, we take them away from where we typically take our dogs, just
Right.
as an extra precaution. So we do have daycare for puppies, and so the Puppy Head Start is really meant to help aid in potty training. So we're putting them on the same schedule that you would have at home,
Right.
like the every 2 hours type of thing. And then they get one training session of like 15 to 20 minutes using treats,
Right.
to typical basic stuff, sit down and all that. And to help socialize them, but it's meant more so for the potty training aspect, but they do get socialization and the other stuff with it.
Right.
And then there's like, depending on the puppy, we had a puppy that did Puppy Head Start for like I think couple of weeks, and then he was doing really good with potty training. So she asked if he still needed it, and I said no, because it's meant for potty training, and instead he just comes to daycare
Right.
because
Okay.
he's able to hold it and stuff like that. Because the problem with daycares is with my previous clients, since they have the dogs out all day, they pee and poop whenever they want.
Right.
So then when the puppy comes home, they're just peeing whenever they need to. So it's working against their potty training.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So that's why I came up with that. And it's been pretty popular. Like new puppy owners like it.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, sometimes we may not have puppies.
Right.
You
Right.
know, we don't have because we opened up in September, so we don't have a regular kind of, and COVID happened, so then that reset everything.
Right.
But we have currently, I think, we have a puppy today by chance, but there's Walter, there's Shelly, there's Marshall, there's Miko, there's Sigsby who comes rarely, and then there was Bob and Jerry, but they moved. So we have we have 5 for sure, maybe 6 puppies currently, but they come,
Right.
there's no set routine. They come.
Right.
Range.
I would love to, I've been looking for puppy socials, like just to get her some socialization. I think potty training, okay, I'm not gonna jinx it, but I actually was trying to recall when was the last time I was cleaning up an accident.
Oh.
And I haven't had, I want to say I haven't had an accident for at least the last 4 days. But there is a but. She's also been having diarrhea since Thursday.
Okay.
I just brought her to the vet yesterday, and they checked her out. She's fine. We're just waiting for her fecal analysis back.
Sure.
But through that, she's actually found a way to tell me when she really needs to go.
Okay.
And that's largely diarrhea. Not so much peeing. Because one thing I've really only had, since I've had her for 3 weeks, I've only had one pooping accident in my apartment. She somehow knew like I can pee inside, but I have to poop outside. Right. So because of her having to go poop, she would find a way, and I've picked up on how to know when she really needs to go outside.
Okay.
And usually, so when she was having her diarrhea, I would have to bring her out 3 times within an hour. And so when I bring her out, and I keep to the 2-hour schedule too, when she doesn't have to go, and it's been working well. I've only had one night where she was whining and barking in the middle of the night because she had to go poop. But other than that, she's been sleeping through the night, and she's on medication, so she's a lot better now. But I've not been able to socialize her with other dogs and puppies, and I kind of feel like that sometimes also helps with teaching them how not to bite, nip, or bite too hard. I've been correcting that, mostly with she reacts when I say hey, she knows that's a command to stop doing what she's doing or not do something that she's doing. I've used the pet corrector a couple of times.
How does she respond?
Sorry?
How does she respond to that?
She gets startled by the noise for a little bit. She doesn't go crazy though. Sometimes it stops her completely. Sometimes she'll go back to doing what she's doing, and then I correct it again. That's largely with barking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I would love to check out the puppy daycare um, at your place, and also reinforce potty training because I don't want to be too happy too soon. It's only been a
Yeah.
couple of days.
So it's funny because I get this all the time. Okay. I remember I had a couple, they had a German Shepherd puppy. Her name was Peach. She's I'm not a big German Shepherd person, but she was a beautiful dog.
Right.
Ever since she was a puppy. Okay. And I remember when they got her, she was 2 months and they're like, she's so quiet. She's so calm. She's the best puppy. I'm like, for now.
For now.
I mean, it's just like humans, you know, we change.
Right.
I'm not the same person I was, a year ago. I'm sure not the same person I was pre-COVID, right? We're constantly changing, our personality. Like we have our core personality, but things change, our opinions change, how we feel about things change, right? The things we like change, the things we don't like change. So it's the same for puppies and dogs.
Right.
So, I just go with, if there's something I don't like, I just disagree with it. I correct it. And if there's something you like, then you reinforce it. It's all it is, So there's nature versus nurture, right? So, I've had some people that have had some bad puppies, but they end up being good dogs because they were doing that. They were correcting what they didn't want, and they were reinforcing what they did want.
Right.
Okay. Potty training. I was in potty trained in a day. You know, takes time. Same thing for puppies. I've had clients do great for like 2 months, and all of a sudden the puppy have a bad week. And then there'll never be, in my opinion, a dog. Like my dogs have had potty mistakes, and they're 8, 9 years old, and they're potty trained, but maybe they were sick.
Right.
Maybe we forgot to take them out. It's still gonna happen. It's just far more infrequent.
Yeah.
When it comes to the socialization, is there anybody, do you have any friends in the building that have dogs or anything like that? Or is it,
There are a ton of dogs in my neighborhood and in my building.
okay. Have you seen anybody with puppies?
No.
No? Because that's one thing I also suggest is like, the concern, of course, is exposing your dog to a dog that you don't know. Okay, your
Right.
puppy. So when I have clients that live in like condo buildings or apartment buildings, I'll tell them like, do you have a friend in the building that has a dog that's good with dogs? And they'll say, yeah. I'm like, ask them if their dog is vaccinated. And if their dog is vaccinated, your puppy should safely be able to interact with that dog. So you still get the socialization, although limited, it's better than nothing, at least with what you have, right? And I get some clients that they're like, yeah, my neighbor got a Pomeranian puppy. I'm like, great, talk to your neighbor, become friends. Can my puppy socialize with your puppy? Because they're in the category, because they're having to keep their puppy away from, dogs as well, or, away from like busy places. So you're going to get two different opinions from veterinarians and dog trainers. Veterinarians say, keep your puppy away because they're not vaccinated. But then you miss a lot of critical socialization time.
Right.
Okay. Dog trainers will tell you socialize your dog. However, do it responsibly. Like I said, if there's someone in the building that has a very friendly dog who's vaccinated, like can my puppy, set up play dates, either within the apartment or, if there's a place that you guys can meet that's it's clean or whatever. You just want to stay from highly frequented areas. Okay. Dog parks, places where people let their dogs play all over the place, the dog beach. Maybe on your block, there's an area where everybody takes their dog to go potty. I wouldn't go there. I try to go somewhere more secluded or less trafficked.
Right.
Okay?
But so with puppies, yeah, I think that makes sense. Unfortunately, there aren't any puppies in the building, or I've not met
Sure.
any. But there are many other dogs in the building. Like, while they may be vaccinated, it, these dogs frequent dog parks,
Sure.
right? Wouldn't they, I don't know, how safe is it to even have them socialize one-on-one.
Right. And so technically there's always a risk. Okay. So at the dog park, the issue is either dogs that are not vaccinated and have something, or two, if they have worms or,
Right.
I forgot what the diet, there's some kind of causes diarrhea. I forgot the name of it is.
Giardia.
Giardia. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She had it already.
You already had it, yeah. So because I was trying to remember the name, things that are in the feces and whatever, right? Because it's in the area. But if the dog just goes there and they're vaccinated, they're not gonna, not that they can't, but they're less likely to contract something, right?
Right.
So the risk, yes, is there. It's just so that's what, so on my website, on the Puppy Head Start, I list, I'm like, we do take puppies as young as 2 months. As again, we take all these precautions, but there's still a risk.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. There's a
So
risk with just walking your dog on the streets. That's how she picked up Giardia, right? Yeah, it's just what is calculated risk,
right.
to take and not miss out that socialization piece, because she's extremely social. Now I don't know if it will stay that way. I hope it stays that way. Right, but I've only she's only been able to interact with people
Mhm.
along during her walks. But I've kept her away from dogs in general.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I don't know how she plays with dogs.
I mean, chances are she's gonna be a puppy, your typical puppy.
Right.
Okay. She'll probably be a bit fearful in the beginning because she's not had that interaction yet. So
Right.
we had a lady, she had a Yorkie, teacup Yorkie. Um, and her building didn't allow dogs. Okay. But she would sneak her dog in and out in her purse. Okay.
Right.
And, she did a board and train with us because they went to Europe or something last year. And the puppy she was already like 4 to 5 months when we got her, but she was a tiny little thing. And she had never been socialized. So it took her, I think, like 5 days, because we had Bob and Jerry at the time. And because they were here every day.
Right.
And she was scared of them. But Jerry was a jerk, and he would he wouldn't leave her alone. And eventually she opened up. So he was a jerk in the sense that of his approach, like he was like relentless,
Yeah.
but it helped in her case because it helped pull her out. Okay.
Right.
And eventually she was playing with them, but you could always see like a little bit of timidness because she didn't know how to interact.
Right.
And I've had dogs that are completely social. Like I actually have a lady who did a consultation, and her dog's like 5 years old. And then 2 years ago, the dog was attacked. And after he was attacked, he became dog reactive. He doesn't like dogs anymore.
Right.
Okay? So things can always change.
Right.
Okay. Just so that you're aware. What you're trying to do here, of course, is best to prevent things. And the hardest things to fix are behavior.
Right.
Okay. Mainly because owners think like humans. What makes me very effective is I think like a dog. Like I'm like, dogs bite each other. So that's why we have corrections and stuff like that. And even for puppies, I've had some tough puppies. And because the way I am, and I'll tell the owner, you have a puppy here it's going to get worse. And if you don't do this now,
Right.
and it's going to be hard, because you don't want to hurt your puppy, it's going to be a big problem when they're older. And they prevent that problem from happening because they're approaching it like that right off the bat. Most people, they'll outgrow it. Oh, it's a puppy. They don't know any better. You got to use a lot of positive, a lot of treats, whatever. It doesn't work. Okay. The only guarantee is if you're being proactive about it. Okay. So it's up to you. Again, we do our best to minimize risk, but there's always risk. It's kind of like my aunt, with her first child, never let him play in the dirt. because she didn't want him to get germs. And guess what happened? He got
They
sick.
don't build up. They don't build up immunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with I get it with puppies, you know, like there's some diseases out there that we definitely don't want them to get, you know, but at the same time, you know, you're missing out either on socialization or even just that exposure to building immunity. So
Yeah.
I just say do so responsibly. I'm not against the vet. I'll be like, no dog parks for sure. Don't frequent places where there's other dogs like all the time, you know,
Right.
more quieter, tame, like low key things is fine. So she'd be more than welcome here. Like, you know, we can
So
reinforce stuff. Yeah.
I'll check with Maria then on how that works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
I mean the 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 one thing that it's probably causing me the most stress now, it's really walking her.
Oh,
Like
sure.
I got the head collar.
Mhm.
I tried it on her. Like I've put it on. I've put it on using treats. It took a lot of treats, and even with that, it was with quite a bit of resistance.
Mhm.
Right, I had to distract her a ton. And I will let her put it on like for a couple of minutes or even like just for 30 minutes in the apartment in her playpen area and as she's having her dinner. But then and then I'll take it off. I've done it. I've done that like 2, 3 times before I actually walk her with it. She absolutely hated it. She was so distracted by it throughout her entire walk that she didn't pee or poop.
Oh, sure.
Um, right, uh, and then it just got so difficult to put it on her that I am like, okay, I'm not sure if this will work. I didn't persist, to be honest. And then she was having diarrhea, and then I had to bring her out so many times,
Yeah. Well, that point, I don't even care anymore. Yeah. Yeah.
which is why I'm like, forget it. I actually got the one of the no pull harness too, but it was too big for her. I mean, it could fit, but it wasn't snug, right? So it was distracting her walking, so that didn't work either. And so I'm back to square one. I'm back to square one with her collar. Um, it's she is as distracted as she is. I've tried to reinforce and say good job when she is like walking good, but that will last for like what, 5 seconds.
Sure.
Yeah, so I don't know what to do. I'm like,
So it's the reason why I'm laughing is because I know.
you probably heard this a million times.
Yes, I do. It's just
Yeah.
people baby their puppies too much. So if you do the Head Start, bring her with the Head D thing. We'll fix that. Okay.
Okay.
We can fix that. It's not a problem.
Okay.
So there's two components to anything with dogs, really. Like for the kennel, there's going in the kennel, right? And then there's staying in the kennel. Some puppies will go in the kennel no problem, but they won't stay in the kennel.
Right.
You know, that's the harder part. In your case, you know, putting on the gentle leader with time has, you know, it's gotten easier, but then there's now keep it on for 30 minutes while we walk.
Oh, putting it on has not gotten easier. Let
Sure.
me just wait.
Sure. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, if you bring the Head Start, because we do, there's a training session, right? Is we can work on that here. And
Okay.
so what I do is it's very common. Puppies are not meant to have a collar. They're not
Yeah.
meant to have a harness. They're not meant to have a gentle leader, right? Is unfortunately for dogs, it is what it is, right? So I get puppies that won't even wear the collar. They'll flip and roll and scream and shriek and bite the leash and stuff like that.
Right.
And the owner's like, oh my God. I'm like, just walk. because the puppy can only, it's a puppy, one, they're not strong physically. Two, if I walk, the puppy can only do one thing at a time. They're either going to fight the leash or they're going to walk.
So I've tried that. I've
Mhm.
tried that too. I've had successes in some walks,
Mhm.
and not in some. Um, you know, I a lot of times, like when I just walk and I walk at a very consistent pace and I keep the leash short,
Mhm.
like show walk. I mean, from time to time I'll have to pull a little. Um, it's I think the tough part is when she goes ahead of me,
Mhm.
and when I have to pull her back, that's when I feel like I am choking her. Um,
It's not on her throat.
Sorry,
It's not on her throat.
the collar is not the gentle leader.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about walking with the gentle leader.
No, walking with the gentle leader, I have no problems walking a lot. I have no problems pulling her along because I don't feel bad. Like I am not pulling on
Sure.
her
Yeah, yeah.
throat, right? It's it's when none of those have, like gentle leader and the no pull harness hasn't worked. I need to revert back to the collar, and
So,
I just walk. That's where like the pulling gets to me.
right.
And like today, she's just decided I don't want to walk. She'll just she'll just either sit and watch people or things in cars, or she'll
Mhm.
just lay on the ground.
Mhm.
You know, so there's only so much dragging I can do. Like, um, and again, this is on the collar.
Right.
So yeah,
She's bullying you around. Like this happens as young as 4 weeks with
right,
puppies. 4 weeks. Okay. So humans, we take years to mature, right? It
right,
takes years to learn that your child is a bully with other kids, right? Because was it four? I don't have kids, but I probably off, but maybe 4 to 5 years old is where I would think a kid would be with other kids and displaying bully type behaviors, right? Is puppies or dogs do it as young as 4 weeks?
I was reading that puppies mature a lot quicker
Oh yeah,
in their puppyhood, right? And then it kind of
right.
slows down.
That's why I said, for puppies, even at two, like I had a puppy I started training the puppy at 3 months. In 1 month from leaving the litter, it bit her husband and her son like at least 5 times. And these were not puppy bites, these were real dog bites. He bit me the first day I trained him and took a chunk out of my stomach about that big.
Oh,
He jumped up and tore my shirt and took a chunk out of me. I had a really big, uh, scab.
oh my God.
Full
At
on
three
bite
months?
at 3 months.
Okay,
Okay, because it's genetics. There was no abuse here because the lady
right,
volunteered at a rescue. The rescue got the mother when she was still pregnant, and she raised all the puppies from the day they were born to 8 weeks, and then she took one. So there was zero abuse.
right,
Okay? It was genetics. So that puppy started advanced training immediately,
right.
okay, because of that problem. Because I came in and I'm like, because she's like, nobody will believe me. She's like, I keep calling trainers and saying your puppy's just being a puppy. And when I heard her, I was like, no, I was like, I need to come see your puppy. And sure enough, he was legit. Okay. So knowing that, again, like I said earlier, any other trainer would try to do it the nice way. We weren't being nice. We were being firm.
Right.
Right? Bite, there's a consequence. Okay. In your case, this is milder, much, 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 much milder behavior. Right. Now we can't correct the sitting because she's technically not doing anything wrong. She just
Right.
doesn't move. Right. She wants to people watch.
Right.
Um, so the thing is, what seems difficult to you because is this your first dog. Is that correct? Right?
Yep.
Is that's why everything seems like it's not working. Because you're coming from no background.
Right.
You know, had you had like, you know, 5 puppies in the past and you've already been through this, like you'd already be like, oh, okay, like this is real typical stuff. Like me. Right? Like I'm not worried about it. I'm laughing at it because it's just, I hear it all the time.
Good. I mean, that's good for me to know.
Yeah. So, okay, let's go back to the gentle leader. Okay. So the gentle leader is hard to put on. Why?
Well, one, there's 3 steps to the fitting. First, you have to put on the collar, and then you have to, no, actually, you're supposedly supposed to put in the nose loop first, and then the head collar, and then tighten. Those 3 steps. Now, one, she doesn't have a long,
Now,
right? And so that loop can never stay on long enough for me to put on the loop with the tree through it, and then put on the collar.
okay. So I'd make my life easier. I don't worry about the treats.
Sorry?
I don't worry about the treats.
Right.
Just put it on.
So I have forced it on before. So I hold her. So I have 2 hands, right? I don't have treats. I have more control.
Yes.
I put it on her. I've done that too. The tough part is the clip at the bottom. It's so tough to click it.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, so you have to put it all the way up.
Right.
And then press real hard to clip it down.
Right. And that's where she struggles the most.
So when she
putting it
struggles,
on.
what do you do?
Well, I pretty much put her in my lap so that I can use my legs to hold her.
No, it's fine. That's all perfectly fine.
And force it on her.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the thing is, so it's like, I mean, it's like kids. Because I mean, that dog puppies as young as Pretzel here have the learning capacity of a 3 to 4-year-old child. Okay. Is like, I remember, you know, going to the doctor and had to get a shot. I remember I had to get a shot in the butt. Man, I wiggled and screamed and squirmed and moved and fought, but I still got a shot.
Right.
Right? Like it was like, you're going to have to deal with this. Okay.
Do I just continue?
You just do it. Because then what Pretzel learns is I can fight for 15 minutes, but mom's going to make me do it. Right? Then the next time, a lot of times too, when it seems like the toughest, when it takes you 15, 20 minutes, the next time, 5 seconds. Because she already gave it her best shot.
Okay.
You know, like yesterday, you know, because I deal with very like aggressive dogs, or I deal with aggression. Yesterday we had a dog here who bit his owner a couple of times. And we were just trying to get him to sit still on a bed and not move. Okay. And he kept moving, and we kept correcting and correcting. Eventually he started growling and snapping and trying to go for the leash. Now he was muzzled. But then after it got really bad, he didn't move for like 20 minutes. You know, and I told the owner, I want to see that stuff, because if it doesn't come out, the dog doesn't learn, it's not going to work.
Right.
Okay. So in your case, you know, it's normal. Like, she's not meant to have that stuff. So I have some empathy there for the dog. I don't ever get mad and never get frustrated, because I'm like, you know, you're not meant to have this. I understand that. But in order to exist in our world, and in order for you and I to have harmony, so you're not driving me crazy when we're walking, you need to wear this, right? And then I just go for a walk. Because what makes her not like it after that fact is the fact that she was fighting the whole time in the first place, right? So it's like puppies, when they won't go in the kennel, the owners will pick them up and put them in the kennel and close it. Now the puppy is throwing a fit.
Right.
Because they had no choice, right? So I teach the puppies there is no choice. You just go in, but they go in by themselves. So when they're in there, they're like, well, I put myself in here. What am I going to fight about? You see that?
So okay, so that's super helpful. I'll continue to do that. We'll
Now,
see.
there's more stuff to it, okay? And it's very simple. Um, so, is there anything else question-wise that you're struggling with Pretzel, or is that like the biggest thing that you saw in this past week was just the gentle leader?
Um, well, gentle leader walking in general. What you mentioned about going into crate voluntarily, she doesn't do that. So she doesn't nap in her crate. The only time she goes in the crate is the only time she goes in voluntarily is when is meal times because I
Okay.
feed her in it.
Mhm.
Um, I am starting to I'm starting to want her to calm down, like sit and stay
Oh, sure.
before I bring the food into the crate.
Oh, sure.
Um, right, and that's the only time she voluntarily goes in. And then I close the crate, and now she no longer fights the closing of the crate. Um, and after 5 minutes, she'll finish all her food. I've also trained her to sit and stay while I take out the bowls
Mhm.
at 5 minutes
Mhm.
and then close it back up. Um, I'm also I've also started training her to sit and stay every time I open and say okay, and she'll only come out when I say okay. Because I feel like she was always constantly excited, too excited, and I needed to calm her down.
Yeah, that's good.
Um, and but she wouldn't go into her crate voluntarily to nap or to go to bed. I have to I have to bring her in. But she doesn't fight it though. I
Mhm.
have to bring her in. She stays in.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Okay, so that's fine. All now that stuff that you did is very good. Okay, so that's all good. Um,
I got all of
so
that from watching. Well, this 1 week I've been watching a lot of videos from Caesar Milan.
yeah, no, good. Yeah, I saw your picture. I like that was very funny. I was laughing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so um, keep doing that. Okay.
Okay.
Um, as what I care about is, even though she's not going in voluntarily, you have to lead a bit. Is is that the time that she spends in there is that she's quiet, she's
Happy.
calm.
Oh,
I'm not worried about happy.
okay.
Okay, people focus too much on happy, and that's what actually screws them over because they're so concerned about the dog being happy is they don't do corrections or anything like that.
Right.
Like, yes, my mom wanted me to be happy growing up, but there was times where I was unhappy because I got spanked or because I didn't get what I wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes, I
The
do.
same concepts. Okay,
Yep.
it's the same concept. So look at. I don't mind that people treat their dogs like kids. Okay, I just say treat your dog like a 3 to 4 year old kid. Because
Yep.
when what happens is when people treat their dogs like kids, they treat them like babies. And babies have no motor skills. Babies have no concept of right or wrong, right? They don't know what they can and can't do. So my aunt, I remember when one of her babies ripped out her earring, okay, tore her ear straight through, and she
Oh,
was pissed, but can't do anything to the baby. Like I was there, right? She was so angry, and she's like, can't wear earrings around babies, right? It would have been completely unfair to because it was no, it was, I believe they're like 5, 6 months old at the time,
yeah.
right? So puppies, 4 weeks, 3 to 4 year old child
Right.
already, okay? So a 3 to 4 year old child, would be disciplined and taught you don't do that, right? They don't get their way 100% of the time,
Right.
right? So once you change that, I tell that to everybody. I'm like, you're babying your dog. I'm like, your dog's not a baby. Your dog is a 3 to 4 year old child.
Yeah.
And I treat it, like that. And I was like, and if you're able to do that, and you interpret things like that, right? So imagine like putting a puppy in the kennel, they're barking. right? And I'll tell them that's like putting a 3 to 4 year old child in the room and they're screaming and yelling. Would you allow that? No. Then why would you allow this, right? If your puppy is jumping on your guests, would you allow your 3 to 4 year old child jump on your guests? No. Then why would you allow your puppy, right? That's how I start to interpret things for the owners, and the owner goes, oh, wow, that like really helps me. So whenever they struggle with something, they'll just say, would I let a 3 to 4 year old child do that? The
Right.
answer is no. Then you address it, okay? Um, so with the gentle leader, um, if you want, uh, if you want to show me how you do everything, otherwise, what we would do here, if she went to Puppy Head Start, what we could do is film a session of how we get her over that stuff.
Okay.
Because we try to film as much as possible, but since it's my staff that does that, it adds more work to me because I do my videos.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's something that we could, you know, because it's good information for people,
Yeah.
right? Because you're not the first person, you're not going to be the last person that's struggling with it. So then I go, this is how we approach it, okay? Because I'm all for patience, I'm all for taking time, but sometimes it's just like, I need you to take the dog out and not pull me, you know? And what you said earlier that she didn't potty that's not uncommon either. So what other clients have done in the past is when they've walked their dog with the gentle leader, is that they'll remove it and clip them to the regular collar and then give them their potty break or whatever, or give them their potty break first, then put on the collar and then go for their walk.
Okay.
Okay, so you work around that problem until she gets comfortable enough that she doesn't mind it anymore, and then you don't have to worry about doing all that stuff. Okay, so you know, because I get it, like, you know, you're not going to get every single thing you want right off the bat.
Yeah.
Okay, questions about that?
Um. y- Yeah. I mean, I am happy to see what she's doing. Oh, she's napping.
Okay.
Um. So I'll see if I can film.
Yeah, you can, and if you want, you can film it and you can send it to me.
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
watch it. Be very quiet when you do this. Don't say stop. Don't say no. Okay, because
Okay.
you're putting energy into her. Okay, I just take the puppy, put him on my lap. If you have to use your legs, that's fine. You know, and it's easiest from. No, that wouldn't work for you. I'm thinking of a muzzle.
She,
Uh,
if she's
uh,
facing away from me.
yeah, I do that for muzzles because a lot of people put the muzzle on like this, and the dog will do this. But if you do it from over,
Right.
it surprises them. So the way I put the gentle leader on is I leave the loop loose, okay? I put the collar, then loop, and then just push up and clamp it.
That's what I've
Okay.
been doing.
Is that what you've been doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think they say how to do it differently.
They say put the loop first and then the collar and
Yeah.
then clip. That doesn't work.
Yeah, because it gives too much time for them to remove it. I
Exactly.
leave it to be to the very last thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't worry about food here if she's struggling too much. Or if you do use food, I'll use something super high value like cheese or something. And when you loop it, you keep the food here, okay? But you don't let her eat it like it's right here. I'm hiding it. So then she's trying to get the food, so I can just, you know, with my fingers or whatever, clamp it up because you can move the loop up, the the tag here.
Yeah.
Hold it with one hand, and then with the other hand, you can just push up and clamp it. But it takes some.
Yeah. With how much she struggles,
Uh-huh.
I can tell you it's not gonna happen. I need like I need both hands.
Sure, that's fine. You
Yeah.
know, and it just be patient, right? So like, let's say
Yeah.
your intention is to walk Pretzel for 20 minutes, but it takes you 10 minutes to put on the gentle leader. Then you only do a 10-minute walk. You know, that's how I do that stuff because the first half is the most important. Once you get that out the way, then you'll be, you know, leashing her up and then going for your walk, no problem.
Right.
The more you do it, the faster she gets over it. So like for us, we get dogs that need to be muzzled and they're not fully muzzle conditioned. and we'll, for the most part, get it done within the day. You know, just making the dog tolerate it.
Okay.
You know, so it's the same thing for the gentle eater. I can typically get the puppy over it within the first session. Okay, because one, they learn I don't play any games. Two, what I would suggest that you do is once you get it on, have food ready. Okay, when you go for your walk, because you were doing this, but you want to use food here, is if you go for your walk and she puts her butt down and you just keep walking, the moment Pretzel moves, you give her a piece of food. Okay. So she's going to do this, right? She's resisting, and you keep walking, and eventually she goes like this, food. Okay. Because that resistance is normal. All puppies, all dogs do it. It's normal. Her instinct is when she feels pressure, she wants to go away from it.
Right.
And you're trying to teach her to go with it. Okay. So you have high value cheese, whatever, turkey, bologna meat, whatever you want to use, specifically for this exercise. Okay.
She's not very treats motivated in general.
Have you tried human stuff?
No.
Try human stuff. Okay. And this is going to make her a beggar, okay, because I know that can be a concern for people, is one, dogs aren't meant to eat kibbles and treats, right? They're meant to be eating raw meat.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, the reason why kibble and treats or kibble was created was a cheaper, more affordable means to feed one's dog, right? Going back to like the wars or whatever. So they're not meant to eat kibble. They're meant to eat, I don't like calling it human food because we're eating the same stuff, except we cook our food, they don't.
Yeah.
Right? Is when I train dogs myself, I use cheese sticks, I use salami, pepperoni, turkey, you know, the rotisserie chickens. I use human stuff. Okay. And I know a lot of people use treats. And I'm like, why would I pay $15 for a bag of bacon flavor treats when I could just go buy bacon for like $5 and I can eat it too? You know? So,
because of the salt in it.
All the sodium and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was an example.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Like the chicken and all that, like why chicken flavor? I'll just get chicken, like plain chicken. Like it doesn't need to be seasoned or anything, right?
Right.
And I do that for my puppies. I've done it with all my dogs. Because, you know, treats at some point lose their effectiveness because if they're under too much stress, like, nah, I'm not going to take that.
Yeah.
You know? So I wouldn't chop up a whole, like, you know, thing of cheese, just a little bit and see, does it work? Okay. The other thing would be, does she eat all her food when you feed her?
Yes.
Or is there leftovers?
She finishes her food.
Okay. How much does she eat a day?
Well, so now that she's had diarrhea, the vet has prescribed like a gastro canned food, so wet food. So like the standard one can, she eats 3/4 a day, 3/4 of a can a day. And then, but in general, when she's not on that, I actually do, I give her half a cup of kibble for an entire day over 3 meals with like 1 teaspoon of wet food mixed in it.
1 teaspoon?
Yeah, it's just for flavor.
No, for sure. Yeah, but I'm just confirming, like 1 little teaspoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, a small little teaspoon. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, maybe make it a tablespoon. If I think about it.
Yeah, because a teaspoon's like super tiny.
Yeah.
Okay, tablespoon makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Does she get any other kind of treats or things throughout the day? Biscuits, chews?
She gets I use training treats when I give her like puzzles.
Okay. What I would do is you remove all extra treats. Okay. All she gets is her food, whether it's the canned food or the kibble. Okay. I'd also withdraw the wet food. Or like once she goes back to kibble, I would withdraw the wet food. Okay.
Okay.
Momentarily to increase the value of whatever it is you're going to use for the gentle eater training.
Got
Okay. Because if, like, I actually have a client, the other day that was like her dog's a picky eater, and she switched the foods all these times. She's added all these things, and I'm like, that's why your dog's a picky eater. I was like, pick a brand of food, pick a protein, put it down for 5 minutes, and if she doesn't eat, you put it away, right? So like, let's say Pretzel goes back to her kibble after her diarrhea goes away,
Yeah.
and you just put down the kibble. You might find that she doesn't eat it because there's no wet food in it.
Yeah.
5 minutes, right? So now I'm going even more strict, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Oh crap! Like it is what it is.
That's how I get right.
I have to eat." Right? Is now you start to increase the value of everything else. Okay. So and I've gone to this with my own personal dog. I think I told you about my chow mix, right? Who went 5 days without eating.
Oh no.
Yeah.
5 days? Wow.
Because I hate wasting food.
Right.
So back when I had my 3 dogs, because I would eat out all the time, I would save like my tacos or like my McDonald's or my Chipotle or whatever, put it in the fridge, and then when they would eat their food, when I would make their food, I'd put it in there and I'd mix it up, and I'd give it to them because I didn't want to throw it away, and
Right.
then because they eat kibble all the time, so like here's a little like extra treat, right? And I did that for weeks, and then one day I ran out of food, so then I put down just the kibble, and my chow like looked at her food, and she looked at me, and I was like,
What
she
is
like,
it?
walked away. And I was like, all right, and I put the food up, and she
Yeah.
did that for 5 days.
Wow.
And then finally, on the 5th or 6th day or whatever, she looked at it and she started eating. Okay. And she didn't like get all skinny or anything. It's against instinct for a dog to starve themselves to death. But
Yeah.
she just learned like, okay, like there's no extra stuff now. Right. So
And
so
that's
I've never had problems with that.
and that's what I did when we first started doing closing the crate during mealtime.
Mm-hmm.
She skipped maybe what 3-4 meals.
Sure.
But eventually, yeah, she knew the routine.
Correct. So you're just making it a bit more strict to increase
Right.
value of food. We had a dog that did a 4-week board and train here with us, and his owner was like, he's not food motivated. And I said, okay. I was like, he'll get food motivated when he's not going to eat, unless he's doing the training. And sure enough, like he was very food motivated. Okay. So we
Right.
can create these things. Now, it does happen where we get some dogs that just really don't care about it, but this wouldn't be permanently. This is
Right.
just to make your life easier with the leash training. Okay. So, you try the approach of, I'm going to put this on you. I'm going to make it a positive. That didn't go over well. Right. So I go, all right, fine. Then you're just going to put it on. Okay. So like, it's like we do the nice thing first. And if it doesn't work, I don't go, oh my God, it's never going to work. I go, all right, then I'm not going to do it nice. I'm just going to make you do it. Okay.
So what should I do when like she just doesn't like she just lays on the floor and she doesn't want to walk with the gentle eater?
Yeah. And this is within the home, correct?
No,
Or
outside.
outside?
Oh, so you're saying the treats?
Correct. So like, let's say you're in the home, right? You put it on her.
Right.
You don't even have to go outside. Okay. You put it on her, you put the leash on, and she's like, like a kid. And I just start to walk. Okay. Not pulling, just walking. Okay. Because people tend to do this. I keep my arms relaxed and I'm just walking. We're eventually going to I'm going to start pulling her.
Right.
And then she's going to be dragging. You might be seeing her flopping. And all of a sudden she gets up and moves. Feed.
Okay.
Right there. And she goes, right? This is why it's important that we have that increase in value so that she is food motivated.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
like, let's say for whatever reason that doesn't work. And I go, okay, you're only going to get your kibble when you're wearing the gentle leader now. Right. So now her daily nutrition will be withheld unless she's being compliant with the gentle leader. So there's always something I can do to motivate the dog to comply. Okay.
Okay.
So, but what you're teaching her here is if you're being resistant, I'm going to keep moving and it becomes uncomfortable for you. And then when you get up and move, I give you something positive, but also the tugging or whatever goes away. Okay. And I had a client where we did this exact exercise on Zoom, but I think I forgot to record it. So otherwise I would send it to you and say like, here, you can watch this video. And so you can do that in your house.
Okay.
You don't have to take her outside. Like you can just get it done with in your house to get her kind of used to it. And then you would, if you're like, oh, wow, like she's doing good now. And then you can take it outside, like build up to that. But you can't always win. Okay. It's just recognizing what's like typical. Like for me, everything you're saying is typical. And I go, I've dealt with this hundreds of times. I'm not.
Right.
For
Okay.
you, it's, well, this doesn't seem to be getting better because you're not a dog trainer. You're not aware of these things quite yet. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I would just make her wear it and then try the exercise, put the leash on, just, walk, back and forth across your apartment. And then when she resists, you just keep walking. And then if you run out of space,
Oh, Jesse, you're frozen.
there you are.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
are. Back.
Froze for a second.
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying I think I lost you at keep walking.
Yeah, so keep walking, right? Like let's say you're going across your place and you run out of space, right? But she's still resisting, then I just like, go on like, because from what I remember, you had your pen area, there was like a kitchen area here, looked like a dining area here.
Yeah.
So that's actually really good because you can like just kind of move in a circle around that island. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just keeping your leash relaxed, or keeping your arms relaxed, because if you're tugging her, she's going to go against your tugging.
Right.
Okay, she's going to resist that. So you have to be relaxed. Your arms are down. You have the leash and you're just walking, and her resisting at some point is going to create tension. But eventually, as you keep moving, you'll feel her move forward and you'll feel the tension go to release. That's when you feed. So she's thinking, oh, when I move with the leash, I get food. Okay.
Right.
Now let's say she starts jumping up to fight the leash, right? She starts putting her paws on it and stuff.
She'll bite the leash and she'll bite the leash in an attempt to walk herself.
Sure. So
Yeah.
then what I do there is, it's super common, is when she bites the leash, I stand still. I start to slowly pick up the leash, okay, to where she'll be like on her tippy toes,
Right.
on her back feet. Because what happens is the way it turns the head, it becomes uncomfortable, and then the jaw can't hold the body weight, so they have to release it. Okay. And once she releases, I relax. She bites the leash again. I pull up. She's fighting the leash. She gets tired. She lets go. I relax. That's all resistance.
Okay.
Okay. So when you pull up, you're creating discomfort.
Right.
Because it's uncomfortable to be like this. So she's going, when I bite the leash, I become uncomfortable. When I let the leash go, I'm comfortable. So that teaches her, don't bite the leash.
Right.
Okay. You don't have to use food there. Okay. You have to use food with the movement because it's not it's natural for her to want to go against it and not move. So that we use food because we're saying you do this and the discomfort goes away and you get something as well, something positive. But I won't do it for the biting of the leash.
Okay.
Okay, that I just correct it, make the puppy give up, then relax, wait a moment, then I'll start moving. Maybe the puppy bites the leash again, then I'll stop, pull up, make them release, relax, wait a moment, start walking. Okay, so I always give pauses between things
Right.
to see, is the puppy going to do it again? Because they'll bite the leash, and then you pull up, and then they release it, and then when you're waiting, they bite the leash again, right? So that means they're still not wanting to give up the argument. So then I settle it first before I do the next thing. People tend to do everything all at once.
Got it. Okay.
You know, so I isolate it. I go, you're not going to bite the leash. Then I relax. Are you calm now? Good. Now I'm going to walk, or you're going to bite the leash. I'm going to stop walking. I'm going to focus on you not biting the leash. They
Okay.
let go, you know, and you keep repeating that process. And you can do that within your home.
Okay. Yeah, that's super helpful. Okay.
So then you're not outside trying to deal with all this.
Right.
And then in the meantime, I would do that in the home. And then for now, do the flat collar for outside until you feel the gentle leader, you know, ideally you're making progress. And then it's like, oh, wow, like it worked. Now let's go outside.
Okay.
And then I would start with the potty break first on the flat collar, then pop on the gentle leader, and then do your walking. And if she tries to do the same stuff, then you just repeat it. And for her, it should be easier because she goes, oh, this is just like inside the house.
Right.
Mom's not going to let me do this.
Okay.
So there's no point. Okay. So now you have your foundation, and then you just build off of that.
Okay.
Once you get her over it, it's easy.
Right.
Okay? It usually, when I've worked with my clients, it usually takes them like a week or so before they get over their puppies over it. For me, I get it done within the day because I already know everything I need to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that should hopefully fix that problem.
And is the Head Start like one session or a series? Like, is there a minimum commitment?
Oh, so the puppy Head Start, I mean, there's a single day. I think the single day is $50.
Okay.
Then there's packages. There's 5, 10, and 20-day packages. And it gets cheaper the longer the package. So it's more money because we have to take the puppy out more often.
Sure.
There's also a little, simple training session, 15, 20 minutes. And then if we have puppies, we socialize them with the puppies and stuff. But there's no minimum requirement. All we would need is Maria would have you fill out a form.
Okay.
And you would have whatever shot records you have. And then, you can bring her in whenever you want.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any shot records because she's not had any since I got her from the breeder.
Okay.
I have a list of all the shots that she's had before.
Correct.
With the breeder. Is that good enough?
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Just whatever she's had.
Okay.
Because I haven't had a puppy in years. So I forget when the shots are and all that stuff. But whatever you have is what we need.
All right.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, Jessie, one quick other question. She keeps gnawing at her paws. Is that reflective of something that she's nervous and
it can be anxiety, it can also be allergies.
It means, sorry, what was the first one?
It can be anxiety or it can be allergies.
Okay.
What I'll have you do is this week keep track of how often or frequently and how long she licks her paws.
Okay.
So if you notice every day, 3 times a day, she licks her paws for 30 minutes, there's something.
Oh, no, it isn't even that long. It's like when she's playing with me, I don't let her bite me. She'll bite her own paws.
Oh, she's just redirecting the energy.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just redirecting it. That's not it's like when dogs chew on their tails or something.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not too worried about that. Okay?
All right, cool. Thank you so much.
If you need anything, you let us know. Otherwise, we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.